Yes, a very good evening to all our viewers at home, and welcome to another edition of Evening Review. My name is Philip Joseph, and I will be your host in tonight's episode where we are joined by entrepreneur slash businessman slash life coach slash motivational speaker. That is Foreversun Haiduwah. Thank you for making the time for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's
Okay.
nice to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been somewhat a very positive person throughout your upbringing.
Yes.
It wasn't the easiest,
Yes.
but just maybe for our viewers at home, maybe for you to just take us through your childhood, your upbringing, what really put you into this space.
Yeah, I think before I continue doing that, I like your presence, right? I like your presence, something that's very important for people that interview people
Yeah.
to sort of have,
Yeah.
that thing that you get the person to become.
Mhm.
Many people are afraid of the camera,
Yeah.
but if the interviewer is calm
Yeah.
and is welcoming, it goes very well.
Yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So appreciate you for that. I think your boss must pay you extra for that.
Fingers crossed.
So
yeah.
So look, we don't choose the families we come from.
Mhm.
I don't know why I was born in the family that I was born, because there were times where I thought things would have been different had I been born in a different family. I had my elder brother once complain. His name is Mekonjo Aido. I said, why did our father choose this Elsin Rehabilitation Center things? Elsin Rehabilitation Center is where you basically work for an NGO to rehabilitate people. And he said, had he gone into politics, perhaps he would have been rich.
Yeah.
My father studied to be a pilot. Had he been a pilot, perhaps we would have been rich. So I was born in a poor family, like most of the people.
Yep.
But I was born in a poor family. My poor in all aspects. It's not just a lack of capital, in all other aspects as well. Poor in a sense that my parents were separated when I was very young. They were separated. I was born in Angola. They were separated. I haven't seen my mom up until I was probably 9 years. She was asking me who my mom was. Imagine your mother coming to see her and she's asking who your mom is, and you really don't know.
Really?
So because they're separated, and then I was raised by my dad and my stepmom part of my life, and my stepmom did not like me and my brother and I think it's not that she didn't like us, but we were so poor that I think she was first catering for her own children, her own biological children, in terms of eating, and then we come last. So I come from that background where, as a result of that, I ended up eating in dustbins. I would literally, anybody that knows where Nipa is, they know that there's a church there, and then there's a school there, and then there's this rehabilitation center. So now, within that space, there were houses of people that were well off. So I'll be going to the dustbins to look at what they've thrown away for me to be able to basically eat. I would befriend people, I would befriend people that are well off. I remember there was a pastor from the United States, and he had sons, and I would go to their houses just to play with them, timing bread, literally, just hoping that I can get a moment to eat bread, literally. So that's the background that I come from. It was a painful background in a sense that because of the separation, now there was this debate about who we should be, whether we should be with my mom or we should be with my dad. And so there was one time you are with your mom, and then the next time you with your dad. And there was just this longing of family which wasn't there. The family structure was not there. So it was a bit difficult. So here in Windhoek, I was with my mom, and next to our home was basically guys that were Homchas.
Yeah.
I don't know what homchas is in English.
More like this green house.
Dealers.
Yeah.
So there were homchas.
It's just
Yeah.
but you grew up in Ombili, right?
Yeah, I grew up so in Onipa and then Ombili.
Yeah, here in Windhoek.
Yeah, Ombili is basically Freedom Land, Ombili,
Yeah.
Okuriangava, Akahana, Penning Street. You know, those are back then. Those were the streets that were not safe at all. You know, they were not safe. They were not nice to grow up in. So I grew up in Ombili. I remember drinking beer at an early age. My mom gave me, the beer at an early age. How old was I? I was very, very young. And because of this separation and because of this, so these guys, the homchas, where we would go to their house so that we can, because they had food.
Yeah.
They always have food. So we'll be taking care of their house. We'll go to their house to take care of the house, and they would treat us like they are boys. The good thing is they never introduced us to cocaine or drugs or stuff like that, although you could tell that some of them were doing it. But they were well known and they were rich from what we saw, perspective wise. So we'd go to their houses, and so sometimes in the north, sometimes in Ombili. Now, because of that no family structure, you end up having this, everybody wants to belong. So you end up being I used to be part of a gang called the FBI.
Yeah.
I don't even know why it was called the FBI. But the FBI is like the police in the United States. So I used to be part of that gang. What we would then do is would walk in a group and at night, and as ons we've seen, bro, just that for ons, we come after you, take off your stuff. I think I wasn't really into it. I think I was always the smart one. I was always the smart one, in a sense that I was the finisher. Like my face wouldn't be the first, if we come for you. So now, for example, I think most of us have heard of this the gentleman that was killed, Kablo, that was killed by the cops. So those are the people that I used to hang with. There's another guy that I used to hang with. His name was Nico. He was stabbed to death. There's Babiki. There's Frankie. There's so many people that if I mention some of these names, many people will be able to recall. So I grew up in that background. So now, because of this sense of belonging and my parents separated and being poor, you had to try and survive, which was very, very difficult. So we were poor, man. That's my background. It wasn't a good background. It was a poor background in every aspect. Mm-hmm. But at least there's one thing my parents did very well, which was to push me to at least finish school. Yeah, which was quite interesting, that I'm proud of, although I failed at several occasions school-wise. Okay. If you don't stop me, I will continue talking.
No, but before we get into the business side of things, as to how it led to you venturing into being a life coach and speaking to the youth and just people of all ages.
Yeah.
Man, take us through the witchcraft story, man.
Yeah.
I was going through a few things now, and honestly, I was quite interested, because funny thing is, we always see or hear of witchcraft, but some people, including myself, haven't seen it firsthand. But the way you've explained
it... Have you experienced it?
No.
Okay. They are coming for you. I'm joking.
No, I'm protected.
I'm joking. You're protected. Okay.
But
Let me not make you afraid. Okay, so there was this lady that was practicing witchcraft, our neighbor in Ombili, and she wanted my mom to die so that we end up on the streets. Yeah. The reason for that is because my mom had a job, so she was jealous, literally. I've seen my mom going to hospital and coming back, and we were told there's nothing wrong with her. But how do you tell me there's nothing wrong with a person when you can literally see the person is not doing well? And then this lady, at some point, she actually poured like a mixture of a mixture of blood with meat at the front of our home. That I saw practically. And there's just a lot of things that I saw growing up
Did that not scare you?
related to witchcraft. At one point, this is the worst. At one point, there was this guy that, it's an elderly man, that would pee like in the streets, and you must be afraid that he doesn't point his manhood towards you. Otherwise, you pass on. You die, literally. So,
Really?
and he was doing that. Yeah, he was doing that. We've seen all kinds of things, man. Like a cat will be wandering around, and you throw a cat and break its leg. The next thing is the lady is in the cement, or what is it called in English? You know, like they've broken.
Yeah.
So for me, what I've experienced practically was that observation, and also these things of you being strangled. You know, but you can't see what is strangling you. That you are being strangled, you cannot breathe. But the thing about witchcraft is that they don't have, I don't know, maybe it was the grace of God, but they don't have power to take a life, to kill, you know, from my experience. Maybe there are some that, there obviously now I know that there are some that died as a result of that. But witchcraft is real. If you don't want to believe it, it's okay. You don't have to. Maybe that's also another way God is protecting you, because God is also real and he can protect you against witchcraft.
Yeah.
But I've now come to a point right now where I can confidently say that there's no witch that can kill me. And I'm not boasting in myself. I just know, because I believe in Jesus Christ and I follow him and I pray, and there's been attempt, and they haven't succeeded, and they will never succeed. I will never, okay, let me not say never, but I'm not a pastor, but there are also false pastors. We need to be very careful that are using witchcraft in the name of Jesus. All right, that's another topic on its own. We also need to be careful of those. They are not real. They are lying. They are manipulating people into accessing their resources, and it's just a whole mess. But yeah, that's a little bit on the witchcraft side of
Okay,
things.
I mean, definitely. But for now, we will just have to go for a quick ad break, and when we
no
come back, we'll
problem.
take this conversation further. Yes, and to our viewers, do not go anywhere, and we will see you right after the break. Yes, welcome back, viewers, and we are still joined by entrepreneur Foreversun Haiduwah.
Yeah, motivational speaker,
motivational speaker,
life coach.
life coach. But yeah, going back to what we touched on. I mean, like I said, you've had quite an interesting and challenging upbringing.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, what then was that the main factor that forced you into the space you are in now,
business wise?
Yeah.
There was a time my brother went to prison when I think I had just finished high school then, and that's in 2004. I was 18 at the time, so that gives you an idea of how old I am.
Yeah.
So when he went to prison, my brother we were very close. If we're together, you think he's my twin brother. So he was in prison, and I felt alone. I really felt alone. At my mom's side, I'm the last born, so I've always looked up to older brothers, and that played a role also in business in terms of how business failed at some point. So I was so alone that I didn't know what to do. So I was in Ombili, then I was walking, just walking in the streets of Ombili, and I saw a church. Right, I saw a church, and I decided to go to church. I believe God is the one that encouraged me to. So I went to church, and when I went to church, I got born again. They preached Jesus, I got born again. And then part of their message was prosperity is the will of God for your life. Like being wealthy, being rich is God's will for your life. And it still is. The only thing is, I feel sometimes it's over-exaggerated and we forget the primary focus of why Jesus died. It's not just necessarily for riches. But the emphasis was so strong that the emphasis of prosperity is the will of God for your life. You can become successful irrespective of your past. So it became more like motivation to me. And I believed that. I hated poverty. I didn't like poverty. I didn't really like the crime life. I didn't like being a criminal, or I didn't like this being part of a gang. I did it because of a sense to belong, but that was in me. That was really not me. I do want to be alone. And when I was part of the gang, when you're part of the gang, the girls fear you, so you get the nice girl because you are part of the gang. It's not necessarily because they like you, but maybe because they fear you or whatever. So then they emphasized on the will of God for you to become successful, to prosper, to be wealthy. And I hated poverty because I know what it means. I know what it means to eat in a dog's plate. I know what it is to eat in a dustbin. So I hated poverty. So for about 8 years, this is true. For about 8 years, I was so focused. From when I was 18, I was so focused, no sex before marriage for 8 years.
Yep.
And I'm saying that deliberately because somebody could be watching me and they're like, they are forced into having sex that the person cannot remain without sex for 8 years.
Yeah.
Well, I did, and there are other people that I have 3 friends that got married as virgins, male friends.
Yeah.
So they push the agenda of it's God's will for you to prosper. And by the time I was 26, from 18, I had bought 2 houses at 26 years of age, coming from a poor background, eating in dustbins. 2 houses. I was married. I had driven, I don't know how many cars. And I was given a Volvo S80 as a present by a friend of mine that was doing business and yet a student. He was still a student at the age of 26. I had completed my studies at Polytech at the time, where I had failed grade 12 with 22 points. I always say maybe it's 22 points because of the 11s on my face. 11 plus 11 equals to 22. I suffered.
Yeah.
These 11s got me to suffer, brother. I couldn't propose good girls at high school. The 11s. They were a problem. I remember asking my mom, what did you give me these 11s? First of all, my teeth are not in order. I'm already ugly, and now the 11s. So my mother asked me, do you want to be blind? If you had to choose between being blind and having the 11s, what would you choose? I didn't understand. And she said, no, when you were born, there were no hospitals close by. So we had to do that traditionally for you to have your eyesight. And you were literally blind. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, 11's cool, trademarks.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, I'm not removing them. I'll keep them with my 11's now. You must see the girls. I'm joking. So I pushed and I pushed. 26, got married, had driven a couple of cars, bought 2 houses. I was doing well. But I wasn't, I would say that I wasn't, yet matured, At the end of the day, I ended up cheating on my wife because she was disrespecting me, my ex-wife. She was disrespecting me. So I ended up cheating and I confessed to her. And I was told that was the biggest mistake. But I just wanted to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened. The church motivated me. And then I found the fact that that's God's will for me to succeed. And I pushed towards success. I made choices where when I failed grade 12, I went back to NAMCOL. I failed. I went for mature entry test. I failed. I went back. I changed my friends. I went to a guy called Veiko Shitalen. He taught me mathematics. I went for another mature entry test. I passed with 40% in maths. I passed with over 60% in English, hence my English, I pushed. I kept pushing. I got my degree. I studied journalism, communication technology, specialized in public relations and corporate communications. I became the best student overall in the media department. Almost had cum laude. You know, I pushed, man. I really pushed. So degree. I've done theology. I've done sales and marketing. I was just pushing. But the motivating factor came from the church.
Yeah.
It really came from the church, and I was tired of my environment. So that's how I pushed, you know, and I hated being employed. I always saw employment as an indirect form of slavery, but I do understand that it's important to be employed for a certain period of time, but I wouldn't recommend for anybody to be employed for the rest of their life. One day become the boss, own the building, own, you know, in the infrastructure, you know what I'm saying? So my motivation came from church. It really came from church for me to be able to push and get into business and so forth and so on.
But take us through again. We'll come to some of the achievements as well. Maybe also if there are some testimonies of people that came out to say, look, Foreversun, thank you for what you've done, thank you for how you've spoken to me. But before we get to that, take us through the, I don't know if I can say,
go ahead,
the I blew it thing.
Go ahead.
The 6 million.
So
what happened there?
So this is what happened. I've got a gift, and my gift is basically to speak. And apart from the gift to speak, I'm a person of integrity. I guarantee you that I am who you see. You know, I was called a scammer. I'm not a scammer. I'm not a scammer. I can dare challenge anybody that calls me a scammer, and we can sit here and be interviewed. You understand? We can do. So what happened is I got into businesses where we were doing multiple projects. So I was able to raise capital, basically from business people, to be able to go into business. I was able to raise capital, and we were doing multiple projects. I think my projects were on social media. Everybody saw what I was doing. You know, in terms of projects, we were doing telecommunication towers. We had a workshop in Northern Industry. We were doing steel fabrication and galvanizing. We were doing steel doors and window frames. We had a workshop in South Africa. We were doing steel fabrication and galvanizing because there's no galvanizing plant here. We were doing a replacement of roofs for like old roofs with new roofs. So we were doing multiple projects, and our operational cost on a monthly basis was around 300,000, basically, employees and all costs and stuff like that. So, and also you know, when you're running business-wise, you have no business background, but you've got this ability to be able to win the trust of people. I had an investor, for example, that came into our business with 300,000, and we returned the money, you know, with the commission that he was supposed to have. And then he came back again with 1.1 million. And then we successfully completed our projects, returned the capital, came back again with about 6.5 million. We returned that capital partially because we failed. We went back, we got 2.5 million, you know, from one individual, one business person that just believed, obviously, we did pay. So that's why he kept coming back, because we were able to successfully deliver up until we increased projects, and then we did not have qualified employees, okay, and skilled labor, and we did not have a proper structure in terms of running the businesses, running the projects. So we were trying to run multiple projects at the same time. We even, up until now, there's my friend is still pushing the gold business in Zimbabwe. He's establishing his own gold mine, because we tried getting investors, but the investors just wanted to buy off the land, because we have the land, we have the license. The geological report has been done. There is gold on the land, on the premises. So they just wanted to buy us out, you know, and we like, no, we're not selling our birthright. So what this guy is currently doing is basically building the gold mine by himself with the money that he gets from another gold another billionaire in Zim that is into gold. He's gone. This guy built this guy built a whole soccer stadium by himself, not with government, himself. So it was mismanagement of funds. Now, mismanagement of funds does not necessarily mean going to Dubai and blowing money. You know, nobody can ever say I'm that type of person. I don't show off. Nobody can bring out a clip and say, every time I'm on social media is to show that I'm better than the next person. Every time I'm on social media is just to indicate that we can all make it. Right? So, but, you know, especially when you come from a background, most of us come from where you don't have financial literacy. You don't have business background. So you will struggle. But with where I am now, I can tell you that now I know what to do based on the experience. It was a painful experience. And you're talking about a loss of over 6 million. 6 million is not a joke.
And when did that happen?
Right. But about 2 years back.
Okay.
Two and a half years back. Now, the interesting part is that I've met people that comforted me and said, look, this is our loss. This is our debt, or this is what we owe. More than what you do, more than what you owe. Okay? Maybe we are not as known or as popular as you are, but we are in the same boat. So chill. Relax, calm down. Get yourself together. I had a guy take me to court. And I told the gentleman, don't take me to court. There's no criminal element to this. All right? You'll be wasting money. And I didn't have a lawyer because I couldn't afford. One of my friends got me a lawyer that said he's going to assist me for free up until I get back on my feet to be able to pay him back. I owe my lawyer now, but we've gone through that case and we managed to handle the case. There was nothing, literally. So we just came to a conclusion of an agreement in terms of what the way forward is with this particular person. And he has, from what I picked up, this guy has forgiven me because he actually thought I am actually a criminal. He really thought I was. Up until he got to know me, then he realized, there is no crime here, man. There's no crime. This is just somebody that tried and struggled. And we shook hands and we are good, you know, and we shook hands and we are good. So, but the most important part I want to talk about here is when you're a person of integrity, I guarantee you, for me that believes in God, God will not leave you by yourself. He will send people that will help you. I was helped without capital. A very good lawyer, not Malala paid lawyers, very good lawyer. Very, very good lawyer, one of the best lawyers in the country, for free. And he said, you can start paying me when you get back on your feet. And from now on, I want you to work with me so that I can also guide you. But in terms of business.
Foreversun, for the sake of time, before we conclude, I would like to know, I mean, you've said something about God, you standing on integrity. But having been a life coach, what was always your go-to slogan to motivate those, especially to our viewers at home, and especially young people, people in their 20s trying to find themselves? Because I feel during that age, it's one of the most critical but yet difficult ages where you often feel stuck. But at the same time, it's a constant battle between you figuring yourself out and your old habits or ways.
That's a very good question. I like my genes. I look young, but I'm not. But I think that is specific, and I'm glad you asked that question. And there are young people that are watching. So there's a couple of things that I can share. One of the points that I came up with when I used to do motivational talks, mostly back then, was 6 words: purpose, potential, legacy. Purpose, potential, legacy, past, present, future. Okay. Purpose, Everybody exists for a purpose. Everyone, irrespective of who you are, there's a purpose as to why you exist. God was not bored and he didn't know what to do with his time, so he decided to create Philip. No, there's a purpose.
Yeah.
There's a purpose. I don't care who thinks what about you. You don't need anyone's approval for you to believe that there is a purpose. Part of what we go through is just a journey towards realizing that purpose. But sometimes we don't want to go through the journey because we want to define the journey ourselves. So there is a purpose. You exist for a purpose. I exist for a purpose. She exists for a purpose. He exists for a purpose. Everybody here exists for a purpose. Everyone watching us exists for a purpose. The same way Steve Jobs created an iPhone for a purpose of communication. God created you for a specific purpose. Potential. Everyone has potential. Nick, no arms, no legs, but he has made more impact than people with arms and legs. Potential, right? And then legacy. Legacy is what you leave behind when you pass on. The legacy I'm leaving behind is the spirit of a fighter. My daughter doesn't look at me and like, oh, weak daddy, I feel sorry for you. No, she's like, I want to be like daddy. Why? Because he's a fighter, right? Because that's a legacy that I want to leave. I also want to leave wealth as legacy. I'm not, because I failed in business does not make, I'm not going to settle for a mediocre life. I need to still make the millions. And I believe I'm going to make the millions. And I believe you can make the millions. Everybody can make the millions. I'm part of businesses now that have helped me, that people put me in and paid for me to get into those businesses for me to be able to make millions. People that believe in my potential, people that are grateful for what I've done for Namibia from when I started doing motivational talks since 2007, you know? So purpose, potential, legacy, past, present, future. Everyone has a past. Don't live in it. That's why it's called the past. Now, most of us are living in our past whilst in the present. And our pasts are dragging us back. You're looking at, oh, I ate indulgements. My parents were not together. You understand? I went to a school that I didn't want to. You know, my grandmother did it. My dad did it. So you're still living in the past whilst in the present. You know, so everyone has a past. Your past is your past.
Yep.
And then you have the present moment to determine your future. Your present moment determines your future. This interview, whilst I'm doing it, is determining my future. Why I said yes is because I know that this is what I need to do now to influence where I'm going. I need to build my reputation again that was damaged because of being misunderstood. And I need to take accountability. I need to take accountability for where I've gone wrong, and I need to rebuild so that I can show people that are probably in less problems that I am, or other problems, that there is hope. I've been divorced. It's not a nice thing. But I'm going to get married again, and I'm going to be happily married again.
Yeah, positive energy.
Yes,
all the way, yeah.
Yes, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Most of the time I say there are two types of people, those that make things happen and those that watches others make things happen. You choose which one you're going to be. Purpose, potential, legacy, past, present, future. Your future is brighter, is bigger than your past, present. It's bigger, it's brighter. I believe that. You know, I believe that the only thing that I picked up is that on a daily basis, we don't live up to the expectation of that day. Like we go on a daily basis, because what you do on a daily is what determines what your future will become. So we don't really push our potential. I don't know if we need to close now, but there's a platform that I created on social media, on TikTok. If I can talk about that quickly, where
because we just have a few seconds left.
Okay, where people can come and be inspired and be motivated and be encouraged both in life and in business by different people from all walks of life, people that have made it and people that are learning to make it. I have somebody in the studio right now that's part of that platform that we're helping to groom to become a business person. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I must say, very interesting story. I mean, God must certainly bless you in your life moving forward. Sure. And to our viewers at home, in conclusion, Foreversun is basically trying to say that Would you rather be the person talking or the person doing things that people talk about?
Yes.
So yeah, that brings us to the end of our episode tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and that is bye from me and the team.